Good morning and good evening. Today we're talking to Ali from Flatlay. This conversation is brought to you by Stacks Ventures. If you're an investor, please message Ali on Twitter or on Discord or via email to get a demo day invite. Join the community of inspirational creatives. Discover and connect with members that support one another. Flatlay is creating a Web3 model that's a protocol where any marketplace and any brands can come in and connect with creators in a decentralized way. Ali, how's it going today, my friend?
Doing well. Thanks for having me, Zero. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being here. Tell us about Flatlay. There's the Web2 SaaS model that you guys have today, but you also have Droplink, which is the Web3 version, where it'll be a protocol where Flatlay uses it, but then there are marketplaces, brands in the Web3 model that is going to use Droplink eventually, and the protocol will be able to be used by anyone who has merchandise or any type of digital assets to sell and also amplify their messages and reach within their communities.
Thanks for that. Let me kind of like rewind it here for a bit and just kind of explain the two and how they plug in with one another. So Flatlay as a Web2 business and SaaS has primarily serviced both brands and creators by giving them all the tools they need to work together to activate community and monetize content when they sell on the behalf of a brand. So we actually provide them with free publishing tools to build a digital shop as a creator, where they can either upload original content or import it over from social. And then we actually help the creators build shoppable collections of goods coming from all these different brands and online retailers. The creators would do so in anticipation of earning affiliate revenue on the sales they generate, while separately, the brands have actually a full community workflow portal and SaaS where they can connect their data sources, import their products, and then actually have a templated workflow system to request and source content from both their customers and other creators that they want to work with. And so we help them essentially amplify the amount of content being produced, whether they're doing product seeding, product promotions, and then actually helping them to track that entire process and see what type of sales they generate through their community members and referrals. Now, as a Web2 business, we experience, obvious kind of like growing pains around kind of different things that created clunkiness within the experience. We had tried to decentralize parts of that in the past through Ethereum, but it was way too early. We're talking about like 2016 through 2018. So, we kind of took a step back and focused on the Web2 business, scaled it out to about 1,000 brands. And then we had the chance to partner with Stacks recently, where they approached us and said, we know what you did in the social commerce space, but would love to see how this would benefit the ecosystem, using the most secure network that's out there, which is Bitcoin. I was always intrigued because I was very familiar with the SEC fundraise that Munib and the team had done back in 2017. They did an incredible job of just like making sure that they were crossing their T's and dotting their I's, and to see the evolution and the academic approach that they took to evolve into proof of transfer and be able to really create that programmable layer above Bitcoin. Was something that took the team and I back, and my co-founder and I, who we've been working together for the past 6.5 to 7 years now, we're really impressed with that. And so we started to dive in deeper, and we really thought that this is a great time to build the infrastructure needed for any brand, content creator, or publisher to be able to work with one another without having all that intermediation that I kind of aforementioned when you have creators working with brands and the clunkiness of promoting products on their behalf. So that's really where that led to what we're doing with Stacks today, which is Droplink. And so what Droplink provides is that Web3 commerce infrastructure to support decentralized inventory management and sales tracking. So Droplink actually stands for decentralized registration of products linked to smart contracts. And so what we're doing now is when an authenticated brand or merchant comes onto the platform, And not just Flatlay, we're talking about Droplink as a network, as a protocol. They can list their products where they incorporate all the details like color, size, quantity, description, and price. And now, with all those details that have been IPFS hashed, we can also settle that. And so we can settle payment that needs to go to the creator when they're promoting out a sale for their percentage of sale. We can distribute out what goes back to the retailer or the manufacturer or brand that's selling the item. And then we're actually taking 1% of every conversion and contributing that back into the network pool that gets locked into an escrow vault. So as more and more transactions occur across the network of all these brands and retailers and marketplaces like Flatlay adopting it as a utility, the total GMV value that transacts across the network actually adds value back into the network and the protocol. So everybody who's contributing and generating sales is now actually a beneficiary of doing that versus what you use today, which is using a lot of third-party linking and affiliate networks and things that kind of like stand in the middle of instant settlement and payout and transparency.
I really like that you guys are going to create the capital pool for the network to incentivize other creators and other brands. How, and I imagine it's hard to do that in Web 2, right?
Yeah, well, Web 2, it's an evolution to where things were, right? It was all about kind of like simplification within Web 2. Like it's already hard enough as it is just to build like a working scalable product. And so a lot of the things that you can plug in turnkey, whether it's like third-party libraries, open source code, a lot of things that help to just alleviate some of those pain points. Sometimes you have to partner with others that are just focused on doing that one thing right. And they kind of become more of an industry standard, but they haven't evolved since becoming an industry standard. And it's been about 20, 30 years when we talk about like affiliate networks. And so this is really something that's been long overdue. And I think it's something that we're really excited to tackle as a team, and having the domain expertise like really gives us that purview to do it.
What do you think that power is going to be to the creators where you create this capital pool with that 1%?
Yeah, what's incredible about this, it's not just the creators that are benefiting from this. It's actually also the brands that are selling the products that you might love. And even like NFT artists that are like coming to market, creating or inspired by their work, and then wanting their holders and their community members to participate not only in the promotion, but the sale of like upcoming selective merchandise or drops. And what's cool about all of this is that it doesn't matter if like I'm a Crash Punk holder or I'm a Bathing Ape Yacht Club holder. If we're all on this decentralized inventory management system, helping to generate sales, as merchandise is sold, and it could be like a bake jacket that's like dropped by round 21, or it could be a Crash Punk select limited shirt that's sold by like Grace and her team through like the tools that we provide. Everybody's benefiting from that 1% as a holder over time. So your payouts are actually adding to the value of the network. So that's a big benefit for the creators and the customers. But for the brands, what's really neat is the transparency behind all of this. So when brands are coming and registering their products into this inventory management system, we're actually giving them a really clean and easy way to be able to say, hey, we're launching product X. This is the product SKU. When we list that product SKU, we actually mint an NFT for it. So it's kind of like this proof of production. And then we're fractionalizing that based on the quantity of items there are. And so now as that gets distributed, we know who's purchasing the item, who owns that and holds that, and it actually has implications of like supply chain benefits over time.
When you and the co-founder started Flatlay several years ago and where you are now, can you just talk about building that team, the evolution, and this new transition into the Web3 model?
The team and I started with tackling the problem of like, how do we effectively help a brand go into market with their most passionate advocates and people that embody their brand's ethos. That took us down the pathway of like creating publishing tools for the creators to build their own shops, essentially like representing the brands that they would create content around. That evolved then into the other side of the marketplace, which was brands requesting us to work with creators at scale. So instead of just like one-to-one piecemealing campaigns and like asking for them to work with creator X or Y on our platform, we started to build the tools needed to prospect and outreach to people based on the content they were creating anywhere it lived. And so that's kind of how we started that flywheel effect in the network around what we have on Flatlay. And then the evolution of where we're going to the Web3 model is like, how do you add more benefit to those true contributors while having this incentives mechanism that continues to support not only those contributing from a content side, but those that are working with a community over time. So creating that content loyalty program as a brand. I think that's where things got really exciting. It wasn't that we weren't aware of this. Like market timing is everything, right? And so to see the adoption of NFTs and that consumer education process accelerate significantly over COVID, of understanding the creator economy, the power that it has, understanding distributed workforces, and just like people working with the tools that they have at their disposal, but then being able to create these incentives mechanisms of people to work together and like breaking down the barriers that kind of exist in the Web2 model of many businesses today. People got really smart to this over the past 18 months, and not just the crypto community, which is cool. And so we saw this as a great time to really address a lot of these pain points and help to accelerate that community growth within the e-commerce ecosystem, which is kind of how we got to where we're at today.
This term creator economy is becoming full blown this own product category and even its own sector within the broader economy, right? As we continue to get more digital, more service oriented in our economy. For those who are new to the creator economy terminology, can you explain what that is?
Yeah, that's a really big question. But with that being said, I think, you know, you kind of look at like what the creator economy entails is there's so many different facets of how people can be creative, right? You could have a podcast, you could be very active on TikTok, you could be a graphic designer. There are so many different facets of what the creator economy entails. I really think about it more at a macro level, like what talents do you have that are respected by an audience or a fan base that you might build and start to generate loyalty around. And so what we have always kind of catered to as the creator economy has kind of evolved is we saw that like giving the tools needed for those that are really great at creating content and not having to worry about the logistics or the infrastructure was kind of the seamlessness that is needed within the creator economy, right? Like I don't have to be an audio specialist to start my own podcast nowadays, right? There's so many platforms that help me do auditing, snippeting, like all the stuff that it takes to have like a polished up recording that you put out there, and making that seamless and easy for that creator with a talent, which might be that domain expertise or knowledge or a voice around a certain, you know, topic, letting them focus on that and giving them the baseline infrastructure they need to do that and equip them to do that really, really well to build their audience and focus on creating that loyalty. That's the way we kind of look at the creator economy. And we're focused on the e-commerce sector in particular. So that's one piece of the question. The other half, to address like, where is it going? It's a really interesting time where you're starting to see this explosion across the board of like the adoption of different types of new technologies, especially with like a younger demographic around AR, VR, gaming, play to earn to learn, work out to earn. Like there's so many different things that are like all coming out, right? And just to see kind of like step in and the growth that's like coming from that, it's an exciting time. And I think that, you know, as things move on, and this was something that we had always had in our mantra from the beginning, like when brands would approach us and say like, oh, so you help me hire influencers, like you're an influencer marketing platform. We never really gravitated around that phrase because for us, it was really about a creator, like great content converts. Doesn't matter if you have like 20,000 followers or you have 2 million followers. If it's great content, um, that's something that can always be leveraged. And like the data kind of tells you like what is the truth in that underlying kind of baseline. Uh, your following could be like the audience that you have reached to. And I think the future of the creator economy is people will start to find like their new niches and new criteria and categories that they become domain experts in, and we may not even know what some of those like jobs will be. Those are kind of like the future of some of the jobs that are to evolve over the next 5 and 10 years, that we'll begin to see come about from the creator economy. And I think it's really exciting to be able to build and contribute to that growth and that whole new sector that anybody can participate in, regardless of where they are in the world. That's the other exciting part of this, is that those barriers, those walls of having to be in a certain area or location, like that's all kind of disseminating very quickly.
How are people going to use Droplink? Are they going to, let's say they have a NFT collection and they want to create some merchandise. So I know like Crash Punks, Megapont Apes, and Tiger Force, and a number of other NFT projects on Stacks. I know like Bitcoin Pizzas, we would love to create some kind of merch. How would we do this today?
Yeah, so for us, what we're providing are all the tools and the infrastructure you need to actually get your shop, your digital shop up and running in seconds. So it's as easy as being able to sign up on droplink.com, claiming your handle name. From there, you're then able to register your digital or physical goods into the inventory management system, or import merchandise you might already have directly through Shopify. And that uses the infrastructure we actually have through Flatlay. And so then from the next step, it's as simple as you being able to take your products, link them up with your digital content window that you want to showcase next to your holder merch or public merch. So we can actually kind of gate it between whether you are offering selective merchandise to your holders as like a Crash Punk holder that is allowed to buy certain items or merch that's being dropped, or public merch that anybody can buy and it's not gated. So all the infrastructure and the tooling that we've done with Flatlay, we're now opening up and creating kind of the mechanisms needed to be able to reward and incentivize holders, for those that are like following or buying from their favorite NFT artists.
I think those tools are really going to open up a whole new area for other projects too, because like you said, today you actually like have to actually go build the social and commerce to do this.
Right, like to actually settle out and have the transparency layer, that isn't there today. It's still using centralized methods of selling. Like you might be setting up your, your shop on Linktree, or linking out to like your own site or blog. And what we're trying to do is make it as frictionless as possible, again, for those within the community today, within the Stacks ecosystem, to be able to get online, sell your merch, and then allow for, other marketplaces to be able to take advantage of that as well. And then we'll start to expand out the capabilities of like who else can sell, what types of ways can you register your products outside of just the Stacks ecosystem. But for today, it's all about really focusing on the most secure network that is out there, which is Bitcoin. And so when we can do this through Stacks, we know we can start to scale it beyond that.
Integrating Droplink, will this be an open protocol where different marketplaces can integrate Droplink into their existing infrastructure and plug it in? For example, STX or Stacks NFT, or no, sorry,
Gamma.
I've been calling them that for so long. So Gamma today, they actually are really innovative with the profiles, and you can see Web3 profiles. It seems pretty seamless to me that you'll be able to use Droplink with your Web3 profile and plug it in and play.
That's exactly it. So think of it this way as, and you know, Jamil and I, like we're actually working together on these things where within Droplink, you can actually, if you're selling your products on Gamma or even Haylayer, like with Gary, we're actually using the APIs to highlight the NFTs. So you'll have the real-time data. It could be like highlighting the NFTs with the floor price, the highest price, depends on what the artist wants. But then from there, the infrastructure for hosting the merchandise, the actual products that they want to sell, the physical products, we're also providing back embeddable widgets and things that can be hosted on Gamma's website and Haylayer's website to unlock the merchandise when you buy that NFT in real time on the marketplace. So that's a lot of what we're beginning to provide to the partners, like ecosystem partners, like marketplaces. But on the back end, all the infrastructure is all decentralized with the inventory management, how it's being sold. And so all of that is very plug and play in any marketplace once they're authenticated and they want to mint their products into the decentralized inventory management system. They're able to do that independently.
That's really cool because I love what Haylayer is doing with the unique artists that have the one of ones, and then obviously on Gamma there's many collections and there's auctions too, and also Byzantium has a really cool marketplace too with really neat UI and UX. As far as the transparency and being able to see the transactions coming through, why do you think that's important working in with Web3?
Yeah, it's really critical. Again, this comes back to kind of like the pain points of some of the existing solutions that are out there, like within the Web2 world. Having that transparency, I know exactly who's picking up my product. I know exactly when the sale is occurring. I know the point in at which the product has converted and what I'm entitled to from that sale. I don't have to wait 60 days, 90 days for a payout. I don't have kind of this black box of analytics as to like what this third party is telling me. My links aren't always getting ripped out by others because of like deprecated affiliate networks and bots that are going out and just, you know, replacing affiliate URL IDs and things in order to like claim their portion of the sale versus like the person who really drove the sale. This puts everybody on a level playing field. And so this is really eye-opening for the e-commerce ecosystem as it starts to scale out.
I believe that is one of the superpowers of crypto specifically. And we're going to see more of this where people use the traditional industries or what you're doing with social and commerce, right? To embed the crypto layer to make the payments easier. And because you can design the smart contracts to do auto payouts, this makes it even easier, right? So the brands say, hey, in the smart contract, and I'm starting to see it's getting more sophisticated where in the widgets or the embeddable plugins, you design the parameters, and then when you push the button, it creates the smart contract to say, hey, well, this brand is going to pay this creator because you have this audience and this merch to do, let's say there's a scale, right? You can say 1% to this creator with this audience and these NFTs, or 20% because you have a bigger audience. We know we're going to have a higher volume of transactions.
Oh, we just had the aha moment. You got it. That's it. Exactly. So now all the parameters, I, as an authenticated brand, I outline what percentage payout I want to give to others. What is my settlement time? Like I'm willing to do 14 days post returns or no returns. I'm willing to hire XYZ. Like these are the type of people that I'm looking to partner with. You'll be able to start to put all these params when you are registering your items through the protocol into this decentralized inventory management and sales tracking system. And then all of these authenticated third parties, dApps, marketplaces, content creators themselves, they're going to be able to come in and pick up and promote and sell those items. And so where this becomes so exciting is that again, like as this is happening at scale, we're talking about like the macro impact of an entire network of people working together and selling and all contributing back 1% to everybody who's selling and listing together. That's super powerful. Instead of a centralized org that's coming in and saying, well, I'm going to take a third of the sales and I'm going to give back a fraction of that back to the other people who are promoting, actually generating a sale. Well, you as the brand, when you're listing your item, if you know 1/3 of the sale is going to go to this third party that's helping you to sell and list the products to the others who are going to go out and help you sell, that already reduces the amount that I'm willing to offer others. By default, I know that my net margin has to be like 50% of my cost to produce the good. Well, if that's the case, and I'm already eating into my margin by paying like a third party centralized network to allow other third parties to sell on my behalf, that last mile of content creator or publisher or promoter or marketer, they're the ones who are suffering the most because the centralized entity or old technology is the one that's actually eating into those margins.
And I think too, where we start to get into the business models and economics of being in Web3, we're going to start to see the evolution. But I do think we are all incentivized as efficient markets if we're saying, hey, upfront, we're going to take that 1%. And brands, content creators, they know, hey, if I use this marketplace, this is what the cost of doing business. It isn't this nebulous way of, well, it's free to use the products, but then I sell all your data through the back door, right? And it's like, well, I don't know who you're selling it to. Do I align with those people that you're selling those brands? So we get to the value alignment in the business propositions.
Obviously, we're still kind of a bit in the early days of like what that looks like as a network and what we're building out with the protocol. But so far, we actually have some significant kind of functionality that's already there. But at scale, when things start to like really evolve, that's where you get into the true value props of why this Web3 model is so much more beneficial over time. And it's something that's going to be well needed to move beyond a lot of kind of this last wave of Web2 staples that we've all been kind of bound to. So
can you tell us about your experience within the Stacks Accelerator, and what would you tell other companies coming in that have Web2 business models and they have some type of audience and customer base already, and they're looking to transition?
To be very candid, I think, companies need to take a long, hard look internally first to make sure that they're positioned to take advantage of Web3 models. Because first off, again, like we mentioned in the beginning of this, just getting it right with product market fit and having, a level of like retention and reoccurring business, like those are all things that need to be kind of figured out and kind of quite ironclad when you are moving into a Web3 model as a Web2 business, if that's what you're trying to do. Our intention was really more about like, how do we evolve the industry? How do we give back and create new sustainable growth that's beneficial to all, not just our company, which is why we decided to be part of the accelerator itself. And because a lot of the tech that we're building is supported by the Stacks Foundation. So it's also like open source, right? So everybody can use this. And with that being said, like the community, the accelerator itself, like everybody has been incredibly supportive and constructive. So that's been very refreshing as one part of it. Two, come very open-minded with the intention to collaborate. If you really have true intentions to support the ecosystem and create benefit for the greater good of everybody participating and benefiting from something that you're building and working on, you'll find that many of the other companies, the other founders, everybody's very collaborative, and you'll find a lot of synergistic overlap with those that you can work with, like we did right from like day one, right? We came into the program, had a chance to talk to the head partners, the ventures team was like really candid about like, we love what you already have as a product. And I think that what you're able to evolve to provide as a springboard into Web3 is excellent. But then we also came to the table with the intention of like, well, there's something bigger here that we're looking to build the infrastructure around. Yes, our company has the ability to benefit from it, but there's a bigger play at hand. And that's just something that if I'm a company or I'm coming into the accelerator with the intention to do something, either I'm building something Web 3.0 from the ground up, and that's the path I'm taking, or two, if I'm Web 2 going into Web 3, use that as a stepping stone into like, what is the bigger intention behind what you're doing in the Web3 space. So
what excites you about building on Bitcoin, and what excites you about this full transition to digital ownership in a digital world?
yeah, what really gets us excited about building on Bitcoin is just like the programmability behind unlocking the most secure network out there. And if we have seen anything the past 3 weeks, it's just testament to that. Like, we need to be building on Bitcoin. Like, this is an exciting time, and I'm really, really happy this was like the path we took, because we built in other ecosystems. I'm not going to name drop, but I'm just going to mention that it wasn't as hospitable, and the longevity of what we see with Bitcoin, and what we're doing specifically with stacks, which is like super exciting because like we have hyperchains around the corner, and there's a lot with what we're providing in the infrastructure and the libraries we're contributing with Droplink. It's an amazing time to be a part of that. And then to a digital world and digital assets moving forward. I mean, I'm still a tangible asset kind of guy too. Like, I like physical things. Like, I actually like to work with my hands at times and do woodwork. Like, that sounds kind of crazy, but digital assets themselves, I think it's the marrying of those two worlds, which is actually exciting, right? So for me to have artwork on my wall while also maybe having some sort of collectible, and then being able to have this attribution behind these physical items with those digital paper trails behind what that means, and a sense of ownership, and being able to have that portable, and then owning my own my own assets, and not being bound again to like centralized entities that are kind of like strongholding me from my own items. It's an exciting time. There's still a lot to be done. It's not all there yet. It's a bit, I don't want to say like complete early days, but I would say we're definitely within the first 2-3 innings of the game. And I think that being part of this transition as a builder and a contributor is a great spot that I'm very grateful for.